Hey y'all, my name is Chloe Love and welcome to A Woman's Touch the Talk Show, where it's my mission to love and heal God's land through transformative conversation. On today's episode, before we begin today's episode, I would like to give some updates about our community through GroupMe. If you would like to communicate, if you want to connect, or if you just want some support, we do have a group of women that comes together for Bible discussions through our GroupMe, and I can leave that link in the bio. And also, Bible discussions will be coming back soon. We have taken a little time off, but we will be coming back soon, so that will be in the forecast as well. Now, at this time, I want to introduce someone who is very dear to me. I'm going to read this from the note card. All right. This young lady and I met in 2012 through a program called Campus Connections, where we would tour HBCUs North and South. We were debutante sisters. We attended Bowie State University our freshman year of college, and we have been friends and sisters ever since. Over a decade of friendship, that is. I would like to introduce you all to my very dear friend and sister, Amelia Brown.
My
Yes,
the honor. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you for coming.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Yes, and I would like to ask you, Amelia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Life is good. We are having a beautiful day, even though it's rainy outside. I can still feel the sunshine on the inside. So
Yes.
we doing good.
Speaking of sunshine, you looking like the sunshine,
Girl,
all vibrant and stuff. Yes,
I don't want to
ma'am.
hype myself up too much.
But you can. It's okay. It's okay.
I know it's been a while since I've been on social media, so posting this, releasing this will, I think, send a few different waves, because I know there's been quite a few people that's like, where's she been? What's going on? So just know I am still here on this earth with you guys. We are still rocking and rolling and living, and I'm proud of myself. I've had so much progress since I've been on social media, so I am looking forward to slowly but surely announcing the things that's been going on with me.
Yes, Amelia Brown. Yes, ma'am. And it's good to be able to come through, grace us with your presence, and show us that you are alive, you're well, you're healthy, you're doing great. So I'm proud of you. You already know I'm proud. If you don't know, I'm telling you now, I'm proud of you.
This is a crying episode, and I don't want to cry too soon, so we're just going to move forward.
Okay, we're going to move forward. Yes, ma'am. So at this time, we're going to have our icebreaker. So, Amelia, I want you to give me and the viewers a positive scripture or a positive quote or anything, inspiration that you can give that's positive to give out to a viewer, someone who's listening.
Yeah, gosh. There's so many different things that come to mind when I think of like motivation or just encouragement. And sometimes you need different things to motivate you in different areas. Yes. So I'm gonna give you two, and I guess it speaks to the both sides of like who Amelia is. And so on the scripture side, definitely Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. That's how I was raised as a kid. That's what's instilled in me. There is nothing that you can ever tell me that I won't be able to do if I put in enough work to do it. So definitely that. And I think on the other side of that, a quote, I'm that big.
Okay.
So, and you have to like believe in like it's not just the connotation of the word, but it's just like the essence of that confidence that a woman like that portrays. And so I've been trying to tap into that a little bit more, and I'm feeling it. So yeah, that is what motivates me in two different ways.
Awesome. Thank you, Amelia. And you know what? I think I want to answer that question as well. So I did come up with a scripture that to me is significant to me, but I also would like to give encouragement to others. So this one comes from James 1:12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive their crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. So to me, it's significant because when you work so hard for something and you pray so hard for something and you're hoping that that thing will come into fruition in your time, of course, but and that you think that thing should come when you want it to come, but it doesn't come until God says it should come. But you get discouraged along the way, and you might go through these trials, these tribulations, and you might experience some temptations. But if you continue just to navigate through it, and you keep yourself find ways to uplift yourself, keep the faith, if and with your relationship with the Lord, eventually you will see the fruit of your labor. So I want to just be able to encourage not just myself but someone listening that all things are possible through him who strengthens us. Amen. As well. So amen. Yes. All right, so let's go ahead and get into today's conversation. All right, so today's conversation, before I introduce the topic of today's conversation, I would like to begin with a poem from Maya Angelou. When I think of death, by Maya Angelou. When I think of death, of a late idea has come with alarming frequency. I seem at peace with the idea that a day will dawn when I will no longer be among those living in the valley of strange humors. I can accept the idea of my own demise, but I'm unable to accept the death of anyone else. I find it impossible to let a friend or relative go into that country of no return. Disbelief becomes my close companion, and anger follows in its wake. I answer the heroic question, death, where is thy sting? With it is here in my heart, in mind, and memories. So today, Amelia and I will discuss navigating grief. All right, so starting out with our first question, Amelia. What has been your experience with grief?
Well, I will say, as far as the physical sense of grief, it really started to impact me, as I'm sure everyone in the world felt impacted by grief during COVID 2020. That was kind of the start for me. I lost a very close cousin and a very close big sister. Big sister actually to COVID. And so that was kind of a first, I guess, episode of what we would call a season of different grief episodes. And so then shortly after, the following year, in January, I lost my godfather. And then in June of that year, I lost my grandmother on my father's side, but I also, on that same day that I lost my grandmother, my mother and her father were in a massive car accident that, I feel like I essentially had to grieve that process as well. Both of them were left handicapped and needing assistance for the rest of their lives. So that in itself was a very impactful incident that I feel like I should include in my experience with grief. After that, the following year in February, I lost another very close cousin of mine. In July of 22, I lost my mom. And yeah, that was I guess the first most impactful. I'm not gonna say most impactful, but it was the biggest one to hurt, because I lived with my mom, I took care of my mom. That was like my person on the daily. So to lose her was such a big and noticeable change in my life, for sure. And it unfortunately did not stop there, because the following year I lost my great aunt, and I also lost my great uncle, and that end of that year I lost my best friend. And she was actually at my house for Thanksgiving the week before. She was going to have her baby, and the procedure did not work out well. Thank the Lord that we do have a beautiful baby boy in her memory and her honor, but Every day I don't wish anything more but for her to still be here
Yes.
with her kids.
Yes.
And that also, just a little pinpoint that we should advocate more for just the risk associated with African American women and fertility and just the way that they are treated in hospitals. It really has opened my eyes up to that a lot more as well. But that was in itself still another huge loss. And then the beginning of last year to lose my great grandmother, the matriarch of my family, was also a huge hit. And the car accident that I was discussing, essentially in May of last year, I lost my grandfather from that accident as well. So he never recovered from the injuries fully. So, yeah, I mean, physically, I done been through it since 2020, and we just gonna lay it out there. But I would say everything happens in God's timing.
Yeah.
And we don't realize in that moment what those situations do to build us as a person.
Right.
And you don't understand it while you're going through it, but when you get out of it. When you get out of it and then you see that change, you see what you were supposed to learn, you figure it out, it's like, it's big, it's heavy.
So today, first and foremost, my heart still is with you. With the loved ones that you have named, how has your healing process been? Or have you had to go through a healing process to process their loss?
Extremely, I would say. I mean, it kind of felt like after I was kind of coming out of being okay with one, then there came another, and it was just like another hit on my family, and different sides of my family were impacted. So yeah, I definitely grieved, and experienced that, or continually experienced that. I feel like the last 4 years of my life was just in a very dark place. And I know that you're going to go over the 5 stages of grief, so I don't want to jump over you. But yeah, I think I definitely went through all of those stages 5 times over. And yeah, I'm here to tell the story. So
Yeah. All right, and so as mentioned, I am going to go over the 5 stages of grief. So this man's name, Lord have mercy, Kubler, Kubler. I know it's Kubler something. That's so bad, but please forgive Mr. Kubler. All right, so he does discuss 5 stages of grief, and the 5 stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So with denial, you might go through some avoidance, confusion, excitement, shock, fear. And with denial, you may ask, or you may say, this can't be happening. With anger, the frustration, the irritability, the anxiety, you may ask, why did this happen? Who is to blame? With bargaining, this is like your what if, and where you feel guilty. This is where you struggle to find meaning, help others, or to tell your own story. And you may say something such as, make this not happen and I will. Depression, where it may be helplessness, hostility, avoidance. I can't bear this. I'm so sad to do anything. And acceptance, exploring opportunities, introducing new plans, moving forward. And you may have a statement such as, I acknowledge that this is happening and I cannot change it. With the 5 stages of grief that I just explained, which one could you say that you identified most with?
Well, I think, and I understand that you were, I guess, getting that from like the research and the guy who kind of put the 5 stages of grief together. I personally, I guess, since I have so much experience with grief, I kind of interpret it a little differently. So the way I interpreted the 5 stages of grief, and I'm just going to run through it real quick.
Go ahead, please.
So I think of denial as something is about to happen. Because when I think of grief, I also, you can't think of grief without thinking about pre-grief. And I guess to kind of just give like the example through my thought process of this would be just going through it with my mom, because that is just the most intimate experience that I've had with grief. And so, just a little background. My mom was, she had kidney failure for 22 years. And, I mean, I even went to classes in middle school and high school where it's like, okay, like you'll understand, like your mom can't live with this disease forever. And, eventually she'll, move on to the other side. But it was always just like, okay, like my mom's so resilient and my mom's like gonna do this and this. And like, I felt a little oblivious to the signs, especially once she, because my mom is so smart and she's always able to like speak and advocate for herself to like doctors and nurses, and I never like felt like the need to intervene, but just kind of be there for her. And this, when it's happening, I've seen my mom go to the hospital multiple times, numerous times I can't even count, and I've always been there with her. And it's always just been the experience. Okay, I know there's something wrong with me, but like, what can you guys do to fix it? And this was the first time my mom wasn't responsive. This was the first time that my mom really couldn't advocate for herself. And I also couldn't understand what was going on. And it just kind of felt like something was settling in, even though this was like 2 days before she actually passed away, that I was now facing like something was about to happen that I wasn't prepared for. So that was kind of my stage of denial. Like, no, she's going to leave this hospital just like we do every other time. Which leads to anger, because then over those few days, it's like, I'm her caregiver. What could I have done? What did I do wrong? Questioning myself. What could have been something that maybe if I brought her medicine earlier, maybe she would have had it. Or I mean, just you kind of spiral to all of these different things and situations for the days leading up to that you could have possibly been there. But I feel like that's just like a false emotion or narrative that we kind of have to play through when it comes to grief. Because eventually you get to the point where it's not your fault, but it's like in that moment, the feelings are so intense. And it's like, especially from a caregiver perspective, you definitely think about all the things that you could have done, or what did you miss, or what did you not see in this happening. But as the scripture says, no man knows the day or the hour.
That's right.
When we all will leave this earth. And I was never to know that with my mom, and just as resilient and smart and rambunctious as she can be, that's how she left this earth. And I did have a lot of anger around that, because I always thought there was something else that I could have done. Which leads me to bargaining. And this is all, again, I want to stress, like pre-death. This is like things that are within those few days of finding out that like this is really serious, and whatever my mom is going through, she's not going to get out of it. And so it's the bargain, it's the praying with God, like, God, I know you ain't heard from me in a couple months, but still, I need you to just whatever I can do in my mom's place, like, don't let her leave this earth. A lot of trying to overcompensate for the situation, a lot of trying to just figure out what I can do to make it better, but nobody can make death better. And handling it, you just can't. You really
Nobody
just
prepares you for it.
no. Well, it's hard to even prepare for it, even if you, because again, I've lost so many people. So even if you have lost people, to just continue to go through it, you're still just not prepared. It never gets easier the more loved ones that you lose. Yes. So the bargaining definitely was very heavy. And then, once she did take her last breath and leave this earth, settled into depression. And it was just a lot of months, maybe I'll admit probably a couple of years, that I just wanted to sit with myself.
Yeah.
Mother's Day, I hated it. Christmas, God, Jesus, stop. Yeah. I couldn't listen to like music anymore, because like me and my mom, we did everything. Like TV just didn't feel the same. You don't don't want to listen or watch the same things. And I'm really trying to say this without crying because that was like the darkest moment of my life. And I know and I understood that there was so many people that wanted to be there for me in that moment. But I just couldn't get over the fact that the one person that had been out there for me my entire life would no longer be there. There was no longer going to be a call every day for me to tell, or us sitting on the couch and me telling her about my day ever again. And that took a long time to adjust. A long time to adjust. And I would say the same thing for my best friend as well. Because we're very close. And we FaceTimed at work. Shout out to work from home. We used to FaceTime and work from home together on FaceTime. And it just how do you do that? Like when they're not here anymore. So definitely that depression seeks in. I think actually what I wrote was no matter what, they're never coming back. It's just kind of settling into that understanding of this is what's going on. Which brings me to acceptance, which I guess to answer your question, what I resonate with most now at this point in my life, and I'm grateful to say, is acceptance. Because no matter if they have passed on or not, I now view my life as how can I live in their honor?
Yes.
How can I now be this person that they are so proud? I know they're cheering me on from heaven. I have a whole fan club, in heaven, the ancestors, and I directly know my ancestors, and they are rooting for me. And so how can I be and sit in such a dark place when I know that now I have to continue to live life for them?
Yes. And you know, Amelia, through what you were saying as I was listening, it sounds like you've had to, as your mom was alive, it almost sounds like you were grieving her even while she was still living.
Yes. And I mean, not just for her, I mean, just a few people that I've gone through. I just wanted to give my mom as that example, but I don't feel like grief is just the actual loss. Grief can also be, as soon as it like hits you, that something is about to change, that is about to have a deep and heavy impact on you.
Wow.
That's when the grieving process starts, because you know it's about to change. Even if it doesn't happen yet, you know it's about to change.
So you can grieve something that's about to change. Wow. Okay. So now let me ask you, Amelia. Do you think that you can grieve? Does grief have to only be with somebody that has gone on? Can grief be with somebody who's still alive?
I'm glad you asked that, because I think more of us grieve things than we often realize. Grief is not a noun. It doesn't particularly like associate. I mean, it does associate with death in societal context, but the definition of the word doesn't always have to coexist with just physical death.
Yes.
It's death by another name, or the feeling of death. And so that could be a relationship, that could be a job, that could be habits that we are trying to break and get rid of. You can grieve all of that. It doesn't just have to be a physical person. There's something that's happening in your life and you are understanding that you need to correct course, or maybe you didn't have the option to correct course. Like something like when I think about job, I think about I got laid off in the mortgage industry, and I mean that hit me like a ton of bricks, but at the same time I never saw it coming. But how do we move on from this?
Wow.
I probably could have been a little bit around my job to stay there for a couple more months just to be laid off in the second or third round. I'm good on that. Everything happens in the way that it's supposed to. And relationship, he wasn't treating you right from the beginning. Why are you sitting here just lagging on with the inevitable, which you need to do? And that's a part of the grief. And it goes into denial. That's the first part of grieving. Denial. No, he's going to change. No, it's going to be all right. No, very rarely, sis, I'm here to tell you, very rarely does it change, okay? It's without a conversation, especially, it won't change. And so those stages we do see in our present life, but I just don't think that we associate that with with grief because grief is so associated with death.
Can you think of a time that you have grieved something, like you have named relationships or a job, but you just named a job and a relationship? So,
I mean, I can give you another example. I would say something that hits a little bit more home to me is grieving the relationship with my sister. I mean, you know more than everybody.
Yeah.
A few people know more. I'm not gonna go into too much, but to understand where that relationship was, into where it is now, that was hard. That was probably one of the hardest things, and it's even harder because she is still here. So it's like, do I just suck it up and just move on and just try to make amends, or do I stand in what I'm sure of, that I love you, but I have to love you enough from a distance to protect me and to protect my peace.
Protect your peace.
And I think that's where I'm at.
Setting healthy boundaries.
Healthy boundaries, yes, ma'am.
We do love that.
Do not pop my bubble. Infiltrate my space.
That part. As stated, grief doesn't always have to be a loved one that has gone on to glory. It can also be people that, say, for example, I've had friendships that I've let go of, or they let me go, and I felt in my heart that I wanted to reach back out to the person, but because I miss them, I miss, the good times and the memories, and even not even just a friendship, but oh goodness, situationships. In the 20s, we went through a few things, but we growing, we learning, we keep moving, we keep going forward, right? What's that? Acceptance? Okay, yeah.
Acceptance.
Acceptance, right.
Yes.
You can grieve, say for example, a situationship. Grieving a guy that didn't do you right, and you don't know, y'all don't have direction as to where you're going, and you on one spectrum, he's on another. You thinking, this might be your future person, and they thinking, oh, this is just a good feeling, and so you start grieving whenever somebody love bombs you or ghosts you. You can grieve a situation or what could have been what you thought a relationship, or like you stated, you can grieve the workforce, losing a job, or you think you are doing well at a position, or let me see.
And habits. Don't forget habits.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Man.
Habits. You know what? Let me be transparent right here.
Let's talk.
First of all, I'm gonna always be transparent, but let me just open up and just say what's on my mind.
Please do.
Okay? So, when you're so used to something for so long, when you're used to doing certain habits, for me, the last decade of my life, and finally transitioning, saying that you want something better for your life, but you don't necessarily know what that looks like. You don't know what it's going to feel like. It's the unknown for you. And you have that fear of the unknown. So, when you for me, I'm stepping into new territory, doing this talk show, walking into this ministry of Woman's Touch that God has given me. This has not been an easy walk in the road. This has been something where I have these train of thoughts I keep losing. I'm talking about reading from note cards, trying to memorize a script that I'm trying to have for myself. So when it comes to grief, as I correlate what I'm saying, when it comes to doing this new thing and getting rid of the old things, the things that I'm comfortable with, I grieve that. When I dropped this first episode for A Woman's Touch, the talk show, when I say that I wanted to go back to the comfortability, to the self-sabotage, to the things that I'm used to, because I know what that feels like. But this new thing that I've been praying for and hoping for all my life, and it's just finally starting to show itself, I don't know what that feels like, so I'm going to hide and go back to the old ways. So part of me grieves the old, because in order to grow into the new, I have to be uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable, but would I rather stay in the old and be comfortable, or move forward into the unknown And even though I don't know what it's going to look like or what it's going to feel like, it's okay to
I think you're, if I may, you're summarizing grief. That is essentially what grief is. It is the fear of the unknown, fear of being uncomfortable because you don't know what's going to happen next. Whether that is a person that is very dear to you, how do you continue to live on without them? If it is a job that you loved or a job that was providing you livelihood, how do you continue to move on through that? This guy who is giving you the ooh la la sensation, even though you know he ain't no good for you.
Right.
Plus sign, plus sign, plus sign. You know, how do you move on from that? And what you do is you just you let it happen. Because like death is unprecedented and we have to learn how to not try to have so much control over our life because you're never going to have as much control as you truly want to in life. You just have to be able to embrace those things that happen in your life and when the change is necessary, be ready to step in and take action.
There you go. Okay.
And get uncomfortable.
Do
it. We doing this talk show. We doing this talk show.
We doing this talk show.
Okay, so
doing
it's a little uncomfortable, but we gonna push through. And we don't know how many people are gonna be touched by this. So that's why you continue to do it. Continue to grieve and let go of that old Chloe. I'm letting go of the old Amelia. Like, they don't live here no more. 21, 22, the way that we used to think and always be in our head. Like, girl, we 30 and we too old for that. It's time. I'm sorry I put your age out there, but we 30, y'all.
We 30.
We big 30 energy. 2012. So I mean,
that's
you
true.
Ain't gotta take that much count to figure it out. But you know, the way that we move and we live in our life now, there's so much. Life is so complex.
Yes.
Why must we hold on to something that was so insignificant when there's so much more life for us to live?
Yes. Everything has an expiration date.
Everything has an expiration date.
Everything has an expiration date.
Everything.
Everything.
Plus sign today.
Plus sign, plus sign, plus sign.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What advice would you give a person who is grieving? And this can be grief with the loved one, life, any kind of grief.
Well, I think I try to make my advice very just standard for any type of grief. So not specific to a certain situation, but I have 3 main points.
Okay.
So my first point, first and foremost, and you should do these in order, is take time for yourself.
Yes.
Like, if you need to step away from people, there is nothing wrong with withdrawing. Some people will make you feel bad in that, especially because a lot of people want things to be done on their time. But you need to do what's always best for you.
Yes.
And so if you need to take some time away from people, if you need to figure out yourself, please, I encourage anybody to do that. I also wrote on my card, rediscover you and your purpose.
Yes.
Like, who are you without this job? Who are you without this person? Who are you without, without smoking or without drinking or whatever habit it is? Like, who are you and what do you see yourself? What do you want to be? Which brings me to my second point. Cry. I hate crying. Totally. And I'm not a big crier. But what has helped me the most through grief is just being able to cry. It makes you feel better.
Yes.
It really does make you feel better. Something about just letting that physical sense of just letting go whatever emotions you're holding on to about it makes all the difference. And then last but not least, once you cry, once you take some time for yourself, once you figure out what you need and who you are, then you find your tribe. Or you lean on your village, the people that you already have had. And the real people in your life, because I don't know why the Spirit is leading me to say this right now, but the real people in your life will always be there. Will always be there for you. Anybody who tells you, oh, you haven't texted me back in 2-3 months, so we're not friends, let them go. Because that's not a true friend. True friends, most people try to be on this earth for 70, 80 years. So a true friend would not mind a few months over a few decades.
Yes.
So that's truly how I feel. I'm grateful to God that I am now in this third part of my advice, which is leaning on family that I felt like was not there for me, or finding new friends in the environment that I'm in, and leaning on and reminiscing with the friends that I've made, because I've always had pretty good friends. So,
Yes, you have. Miss
yeah.
Popular. Yes,
Oh
ma'am.
gosh, here
Yes,
you
Miss
go.
Popular.
But I have to say that I have a good discernment for when it comes to good people,
Yeah.
and so just keeping those type of people around, to fulfill your life with things that are just happy and fulfilling for you.
It's important to have community.
It's definitely important to have.
Community.
You do not live on this earth by yourself.
No, God
Nobody
didn't
does.
intend for us to do life alone.
And nobody does.
That's right. Now, Amelia, do me a favor. Read that first one again.
The first one?
Yes.
So yeah, my first advice is take some time for yourself, which is rediscovering you or rediscovering your purpose.
What does that look like for Amelia?
Well, that was... It's kind of taken a few different shapes. That's a good question. I like how you brought that in there. Rediscovering me. So when it was my mom, it was my livelihood. I really had to like structure and focus in on, because I didn't have anybody to lean on. Like, how was I going to consistently pay rent and like take care of myself? And I also had my nephew at the time. Well, I still have my nephew. So how am I going to take care of this baby now by myself? And I fell into my career hard. I realized that I wanted to really learn and understand money and really understand financial strategies, financial habits. And that's what led me into finance, and I thank God for it. And with my grandfather, because I was kind of like the last person adult-wise that I had to take care of. Yeah. After him, I kind of felt like there was just no longer this like restraint of like me having to run to a nursing home or me having to like run to doctor's appointments. And so like I'm now fully living for me. And that's when I took up working out. And I started working out 5 days a week. And I've lost 50 pounds in a year, y'all. Y'all just gotta like plug that in real quick.
Gonna get like her.
Like, okay, it's coming soon. It's coming soon. It's coming soon. You got it. I got you. But I mean, just really now taking the time for me, what would make me happy, and just being the best version of myself. And for me, that was improving my physical aspect and just being overall a healthier person. Yes. So, and I mean, I could go on and on. Like every person that I've lost has like taught me something else or helped me discover a certain part of myself. My godfather made me realize that like you're never too old to be educated. So I do want to go back to school. Like I should have never stopped. Yes, granted, I get that, but I am gonna go back. All right. And stay tuned on that. There's more to come. Hey. But I mean, I could give example for literally anybody that I've lost, but the biggest ones definitely is my livelihood and just a healthier way of living. For me.
All right. Yes. So, Amelia, tell me about some things that you got into, such as, there's a certain sport you like, and tell me about your girl group. Tell me about that.
You're funny. Well, as far as, leaning on Tribe.
Yes.
Last year, especially when I got into working out, that was not something that I did on my own. And so I did find, there was one girl, shout out to Tiana, love you, boo. And we connected at work, but we went to high school together. So we started playing pickleball because there was a pickleball court at my job. And from there, she kind of invited her friends. And now we're all friends. If they say otherwise, it's me and you. But yes, we all started playing pickleball together. And I think that group was kind of like my first like blossom of coming into a new version of myself. It was friends that my mom had never met, but I believe that my mom would be very proud that I had made. Again, just that discernment of good people and good character. So I love them dearly, and I can't just thank enough how much they have helped in my health journey. But I have other friends besides that. I have a group at my job that, we all came together, and we don't work in the same department necessarily, but we all really connected with the fact that we are, up and coming, trying to leave our mark in corporate America and just do well, make a good living, and have a good life. And we all really resonate with that. And I mean, very similar to the girl group, even though it's mixed. So I do like, having guy friends just as well as girlfriends. You can't just have girlfriends. And I love being in that type of group as well. And we hang out and we vibe and we study and we pray and we drink and we go out. But still, I mean, we have a good time. We have a good time. So I am just loving my tribes. I'm loving the community that I have created as a result of not having so much time that was originally restrained for taking care of my family. I think it was a hard thing for me to deal with in my 20s because I was upset for the early part of my 20s that I felt like I couldn't live the same life as everybody else because, I had to go home and put my mom on the dialysis machine. I had to make sure that my grandfather at the nursing home at a drop of a dime, I had to go over there and make sure he was okay. He was so upset with me that he couldn't even stay with me, but I couldn't take care of him and a 1-year-old autistic child. So, I mean, it was just so, people don't even know the beginning because I don't necessarily share everything, but I don't share everything in the moment. Much like my mom and much like my granny and my grandma, we're just very perseverant women. Like, we're gonna get it done. And I mean, what's the point of me telling you I'm not asking you for help? And that's just kind of where I was in that place. And so it is hard, and it was hard coming back out into like leaning on people. And I remember even like the first time, like we were going to brunch and I had to bring my nephew, and it was like I was freaking out more than they were freaking out because he was just like yelling and like I couldn't get him to calm down. I'm just like, my friends are in their late 20s and I'm the only one that has to bring a kid. Like, that's so not fair. And just being really upset with my life and what was handed to me, but I wouldn't change anything. To say that now is big. And it's taken a lot of growth and it's taken a lot of acceptance, that last stage, to get to a point where it's just like, you know what, in spite of everything, I am an extremely blessed and lucky and perspective individual.
Because in the moment when you're going through it, it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel good. But then you get to that other side of it, and it's like, I'm glad it happened that way. I'm glad it happened that way. Yeah. So now I can live the rest of my life and just be happy. And live in purpose and know that what I'm doing here is because of the loved ones that have poured into me when they were here.
That's so random. This just came to me, and I want to ask you, what do you think about this? Do you think that you have to lose something in order to gain something? Like, do you feel like a lot of times? Because the reason why I asked that is because a lot of times, a little bit more about, like me. Another example of living or grieving someone who's living. I have parents in their 70s. My mom is 72. My dad is 75, 76.
You have to put them out there like
I sure didn't, because they probably going to watch this. Anyway, and even if they do,
I love you, Miss.
I love you, mama. Love you, mama. Love you, daddy. All right, anyway.
But as you were saying, older parents.
Having older parents, and you know how like you had at a moment you had shared how when your mom was still living, how you grieved her while she was alive because you were told about people with kidney failure, so and aspects to me, it's like with having elderly parents, or I hate to call them elderly, Lord.
They gonna get you.
Ooh, child. I sorry. Anyway, so I I can say that I've been grieving my parents since I was a child. I remember I
Just
would.
because you knew they were that old? Wait, I gotta
Yes.
get clarification
No,
of what
because
we talking about now.
no, for real. Because when I was a kid, I used to pray to God. I would pray that they would live for a long time. Granted, He's actually allowed that to happen. If I can
Yes.
say anything, God has answered that prayer.
Good.
If I can't think of any other prayer, I can remember that God has kept my parents in their longevity on this earth, and I thank God for that. As a kid, I used to pray that I'll grow 50 years old and they be 90 some years old. You know, I used to think stuff like that. Like, Lord, what if they leave me when I'm like 13 years old and I don't get to learn how to deal with credit cards or how to pay bills or things like that and things of that nature. The life skills that I'm afraid if I lose my parents, how I'm gonna take care of myself? Who's gonna take care of me? So I used to grieve, I actually can say that I have come to a point where I would actually, have to say I think I have a little bit more peace because I've tried to prepare myself. Because I don't know when that time's gonna happen. Nobody knows when that time is gonna happen.
You will
never fully know.
Prepare for that moment.
That moment.
But here's what I will say as someone who does work and deal with people who have to settle inherited accounts. Talk to your children now. Have the conversation now to put the affairs in order. We don't have that conversation enough.
Yeah.
And I know nobody wants to talk about what happens when I'm not here, but the fact of the matter is somebody has to deal with your affairs. Even if you have 2 cents in your account, somebody has to settle your accounts. Is this the camera? Somebody has to settle your accounts. Please have that conversation with your children. Have that conversation with your loved ones. However you want things to be assigned, to be laid out. Have that conversation and have it sooner than later. You're never too young or too old to have that conversation. It could be in your 30s and your kids could be like 10 years old. Or you could be in your 70s and your kids are now 20s, 30s, and surely, hopefully, God willing, you're a few decades still off from that. But it just needs to be a conversation because when I think about it now, I think about my best friend, I think about my cousin and her 3 kids. She left 3 kids on this earth, and she never wrote out anything as far as what was going to happen with them, how would they be taken care of, their education, just how she wanted whatever was going to be inherited to them, how that was supposed to be spelled out. And I mean, we truly just, you just never know. And that's why we do have to have those plans in place. Yes. Sorry, just a quick plug.
No need that plug. Thank you. Now, this segment of the show is called Let Your Light So Shine. This is where if you have a gift, a talent, business, or expertise that you would like to express, show to the viewer, just so you can let your light so shine, all for the upbuilding of His kingdom. All right, so at this time, Amelia has something she would like to share with us. We'll just call it a little show and tell, or just a tale. Any which way, we're going to give it over to Amelia now.
Awesome. Well, I am excited to share that my Let's So Shine is my book. I have been actually writing a book for probably the last 10 years. I feel like it started out with it being a book about my experience in my 20s, just because I went through so much even up to age like 26. But Lord, nothing would have prepared me for 28 to lose my mom and then everything consecutively after. So I feel like there's an audience for the life that I've lived and a lot that people can take from my experience to be stronger in their experience. And that's really what I want to share with the world. I am slowly but surely making a comeback to social media, but it's definitely not going to be in the way that you guys saw it before by any means. Just, with my job and everything, I have to be very careful about the things that I post. And so just bear with me, but I will hopefully have the book available or ready by this time next year. So that will require me to kind of open up and share some things with you guys as we're ready for the book to be launched.
You have a title?
Well, it was called 20-ish. And so I feel like maybe that's still appropriate to keep it, even though I'm finally 30. But I mean, it's talking about my experience in my 20s.
Okay.
So 20-ish. Unless it's something else by that date. But let's go with 20-ish.
20-ish on a shelf near you.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So thank you, Amelia, for sharing. Thank you. I was about to say thank you. Well, thank you, God. So
Yes,
it almost
thank
came
you,
out. So
God.
thank you, God. Thank
Big
you,
ups.
God, for this platform. Amen.
Thank you to the ancestors. Sorry to cut her off.
Hey,
Thank you to the
all right, ancestors who came before me,
Yes.
right? All right. And so, well, this ends the conversation, and I'm grateful that you were here and shedding your light, looking vibrant and beautiful.
Ooh, girl.
Yes, gracing with your presence. Yes, this used to be my loctician before I cut this hair. Yeah. She used to get me right though. It's good. She used to get me right. Anyway, thank you all for rocking it with us today's conversation. I hope there was something that you all were able to get from it, and if not, it's okay. But anyway, all right. Thank you,
But
Amelia.
let us know your thoughts.
Oh.
Let's just connect. Again, I'm not on social media, but I will be coming back. Instagram is Millie Money with 2 Y's on the money. And yeah, I'm also on TikTok. But Woman's Touch. Find her, find them, find us, and connect with us because we want to talk to you.
See, thank you
You
for
need
holding
me,
me
I
together.
know.
Yeah, I needed her because child, she held me together just now.
I know.
Yes. But
We're
anyway,
friends for it.
all right. Thank y'all. We love y'all.
Have a good
Peace.
night.
I love y'all. Thank you for watching.